Go on, take a look at the tag on the shirt you're wearing. There's a pretty good chance it says, Made in Bangladesh. We see those words all the time, right? But what's the real story there? Today, we're going to peel back that little tag and look at the huge, complicated, and powerful industry behind it.
Yeah, those three little words, they're way more than just a label. They represent a massive story about global economics, the clothes we all wear, and, of course, the millions of people who actually make them.
Okay, to really get a sense of the scale here, you have to start with this. For years now, Bangladesh has been the second largest exporter of clothing on the entire planet. The only country ahead of them? China. That's it. So this is no small-time operation. We're talking about a global titan. But to really understand how we got here, we need to rewind way back. Because the story of textiles in this part of the world, man, it didn't start with fast fashion t-shirts. It started with a fabric that was, well, the stuff of legends. This was Dhakai muslin, and it wasn't just any cloth. It was so fine, so incredibly delicate, that emperors and royalty all over the world were desperate to get their hands on it. So this whole story begins with a legacy of high art and master craftsmanship, not just mass production. And this slide, this captures that whole economic journey in a nutshell. The country's pride shifted from traditional stuff like jute, which they called the golden fiber, to the new modern engine, ready-made garments, or RMG. That one pivot reshaped the entire nation.
All right, let's move on and see how this industry literally became the backbone of an entire country's economy. And fair warning, the numbers you're about to see are pretty staggering. Get your head around this for a second. Over 84% of all of Bangladesh's export earnings come from this one industry, from making clothes. It is almost impossible to overstate how critical this is to their economy.
And who's powering this massive engine? People. Around 4.5 million of them, the huge majority of whom are women, work directly in this sector. It is the single largest formal employer in the whole country.
And the money? Well, at its peak, right before the pandemic came along and shook up the world, the industry was exporting over $34 billion worth of clothing. Every single year. I mean, just a colossal figure.
So where does all this stuff end up? Well, the lion's share, over half, goes to the European Union, and another big chunk heads right to the United States. This shows that direct, invisible line connecting a worker in Dhaka to a shopper in Berlin or Los Angeles. But, and this is a huge but, this incredible story of economic growth came at a steep price. For all its success, the industry has a much darker, tragic side that eventually the world just couldn't ignore anymore. On April 24, 2013, the world saw one of the worst industrial disasters ever. The day before, workers had pointed out huge, scary cracks in the building. But the next morning, they were ordered to go back inside. At 8:57 a.m., the entire 8-story building collapsed. Over 1,100 people were killed. It was a brutal, horrifying wake-up call for the entire fashion industry.
And that tragedy ripped the curtain back on the harsh reality for so many workers. We're talking wages under $100 a month, crazy long hours, and safety standards that were just ignored. All of it driven by this relentless pressure from global brands to get clothes made cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
They say a crisis doesn't build character, it reveals it. So it raises a really important question. How do these companies act when the pressure is really on? Well, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, that character got tested all over again. Reports came out that some major retailers basically panicked. They canceled orders, held back payments for months, and even demanded huge discounts from suppliers who were already on the brink. It put an incredible strain on the factories and, of course, on the workers. So all of this brings us to today, and to what is a critical, make-or-break moment for this entire industry. There's a huge economic shift coming, and it's coming fast. Okay, so here's the deal. In November of 2026, Bangladesh is set to graduate from the UN's list of least developed countries. Now, on one hand, that is fantastic news. It's a sign of amazing economic progress. But it's also a classic double-edged sword. And here's why. As an LDC, Bangladesh got a huge advantage. Duty-free, or tax-free, access to sell their clothes in places like the European Union. But after they graduate, that special treatment goes away. Suddenly, their exports could get hit with a tax of around 11.5%, which could wipe out their main competitive advantage, being cheap, almost over. And on top of that, there's another challenge, and this one's internal. roughly 75% of what they make is basic cotton stuff, t-shirts, jeans. But the global market is shifting fast towards man-made fibers for things like sportswear and activewear. So they're kind of stuck in a product trap, producing what the world wanted yesterday.
So when you put it all together, it's an incredibly complex moment. You've got strengths, like their competitive cost, but that's being directly threatened. And you've got weaknesses, like being so dependent on cotton, which is holding them back from huge opportunities like the big global push to find manufacturing alternatives to China.
But in the middle of all these massive challenges, something truly remarkable has been happening. A proactive, forward-thinking evolution that is completely rewriting the industry story.
So what's this number? 270 plus. It's not a dollar amount. It's not a percentage. That is the number of world-leading, LEED-certified green factories that are operating in Bangladesh right now.
This is just a remarkable strategic pivot. I mean, out of the ashes of its reputation after Rana Plaza, Bangladesh has quietly become the undisputed global leader in sustainable garment manufacturing. It has more of the world's highest-rated green factories than any other nation. This is them building a future based not just on being the cheapest, but on being the best.
So that little tag on your shirt tells a huge story. A story of historic craft, an economic miracle, a human tragedy, and now a surprising evolution towards sustainability. The industry is at a massive crossroads, trying to change its own story. The only question left is, will our choices as consumers evolve with it?